Today I'm interviewing Mina. Mina's been with us for quite some time now, and I'll get her to introduce herself in a moment to give the full kind of context, story, what she's doing, where she was when she started, and all of that. But yeah, I hope this one is valuable for you guys, and make sure to ask questions if you're attending live. And Mina, appreciate you hopping on with us. Do you want to give a little intro just so people know who you are, what you're doing currently, and also maybe where you started from as well?
Yeah, so actually, I'll start from the beginning. And I started, I'm a nurse, I'm an ER nurse, and I've been a nurse for about 10 years now. And I didn't really think that there would be kind of like a shift in my career. I thought I was just I mean, I'm still a nurse, but I
Hmm.
didn't think that I would ever kind of want to leave the bedside. Um, and so how I kind of got started in this was December of 2023. I had a conversation with my boss, didn't like anything he said, and I remember telling myself, man, I got to work for myself. I got to find something that gets me out of this garbage and that I can work for myself. And I remember in January, I was driving to go see my mom. She lives about 5 hours away, so it was a lot of time for me to think. I was probably at my lowest point, um, maybe mentally inside of nursing. And I remember telling myself, what's asking myself, what skills am I good at besides, nursing? And my dad and I, growing up, he always had a camera in his hand, like the old school cameras like this. And
Mm.
then I was always in front of the camera because I love being in front of the camera. And as I grew older, I started doing my own like videography with friends, making little movies, things like that. And so I thought, okay, that's something I can do is videography. And the iPhones are really great now, and I can do mobile videography. And then between January and I think either March or May, one of the M's, I thought I want to do more because I think most people can, record themselves or, maybe they're looking for something more professional videography and not mobile because maybe they won't take you seriously if you come showing up with your phone. And I wanted to just do more for people. And somewhere between January and May or something, I found you on YouTube and kind of this, how to make more money at home or something like that. Whatever it was, I found you. And that's when I kind of dove into this social media world of, oh, people actually, take it seriously. And people, it's more than just, this is what my family does. It's actually like really business related. So and before that, I was kind of like, man, I'm too scared to touch anybody's social media. With the word management,
Hmm.
social media manager, it's terrifying is how I felt. And then I found you, and it kind of broke down. This is how these are the certain fundamentals of social media and things like that. So that was very helpful. And since then, just been slowly progressing upward as far as,
Hmm.
gaining clients and understanding more about social media, following the trends and kind of going with the trends, how to spot them and like just the fundamentals of social media. So I'm not scared of it anymore, like I was.
Hmm.
So that's kind of from then to now.
Amazing, amazing. And Mina, to give people the kind of context then of where you're at now, how many clients are you working with, and like how much are you charging per client, roughly? I know each of them is on a different roughly package, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I think right now I feel like I've got maybe nine clients.
Hmm.
I'm actually nurturing about five more. I just closed one today for consulting.
Nice.
And yeah. And and I've got one more in the works. I'm just waiting for her to send over to review the agreement and send over the payment. So maybe four more
Nice.
nurturing. But anyway, and so I'm charging between maybe 600 to like 1500.
Hmm.
Um, and I know that rates are something that everyone's kind of like, what do you charge? What do you charge? And one of the biggest takes that I've gotten from doing this is if you're cookie cutter, um, meaning your service works for everybody, I almost feel, again, just my opinion, from what I've experienced, that you are less valuable. And so what I'm learning is that when I it is okay, it is very okay to say, I don't think I am for you.
Mm.
Sometimes it actually switches the psyche of the prospect of, no, 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 you are for me. And then you can kind of, you might be able to close that. So you kind of do this reverse psychology, not on
Hmm.
purpose. Like, I don't do it on purpose
Hmm.
sometimes. And that's kind of the great thing about this is you get to pick and choose who you want to work with. Um, but at some point you kind of develop this, I don't think I'm the right fit for you. And sometimes they'll take that as bait and make themselves for you. And then that's when you can kind of ebb and flow with your prices.
Hmm.
Uh, I haven't decided if I want to make everything cookie cutter, but I think the way that it's working for me right now, I'm gonna stick with. I'm not for everybody,
Hmm.
and that includes the rates. Sometimes I'm just out of somebody's budget, which is okay, and again a good thing I think
Yeah, for sure.
because other clients are paying that particular budget. And then if I'm depending on the client and their needs and things like that, maybe I can either lessen or even reduce the rate.
Hmm.
Um, and so rate is really an opinion. Your prices are just an opinion
For sure. Yeah.
of what your time is worth. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so clear, right? Like you have somebody that might start in the program selling, let's say, 15 pieces of content for an Instagram page, social media management, and they might charge 300 a month. And then you have
Mhm.
somebody that's done this for maybe 6 months, 9 months. They've just got more confidence and they have the exact same package. They're charging double, you know? So it's very,
Yeah.
very much, as you said, it's pricing is, it's conceptual. It's based on the value, the perceived value. One business that just makes a ton of money and they're super busy might just pay for that exact same service double the price, happy,
Yeah.
thinking they're getting the
Yeah.
best deal in the world, you know?
And it's interesting because I have a client who only charges $99 a month. And we have talked about this as
Mm-hmm.
to should I charge this? And then, we talk about, well, what's the value? What are they getting? And what I've learned from this client is that they are very tailored to the beginners,
Mm-hmm.
like the brand new businesses opening up that don't have a budget. So $99 a month fits within.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but for me, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
I can't,
not
not
happening.
with my so it is very opinionated, conceptual, and it's really just up to you.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I know for me, that's something, just even when I started, I had so many limiting beliefs around, if I'm not worth that much money, I can't charge that much money, nobody will pay that much money. And then you just, all it takes really is one time for you to feel a little bit more confident and go, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm going to charge that price. And then
Yeah.
somebody says yes, and you're like, holy shit, that is actually possible.
The other thing I've learned about pricing also is you can test your market as far as, okay, if somebody's going to pay $300, and let's say I've got two clients paying $300, the next one I'm going to pitch is going to be at 400.
Mm,
Oh, I'm going to take that. Okay, cool. Next one I'm going to go 500. And then you kind of go scale up and up and up until until somebody says no, and you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to test. I'm going to start at 800 if I went
hmm.
from 400 to 800 and ride this wave a little bit, gain results and things like that. And then the next time I pitch, I'm going to go up to 900. And that's kind of also how I kind of started too, was I was kind of letting the market tell me what they're willing to pay for where I'm at now.
Hmm.
And that's something that I'm going to kind of continue to ride with, kind of increase slowly until somebody tells me no. Okay, I'll back off and I'll
Mm,
stay right here for a little bit and
yeah.
then do more, and then, eventually kind of creep up as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, it makes total sense. And I think for people watching me, I think it's good context to know as well that more like charging more money isn't always the thing you should do. So there's certain cases where charging a client more money might actually make you less money because you might charge them more, but you're doing, let's say, more work. And so you might actually, on a profit basis, make less profit percentage per client that you have, right? Per piece of content you create or per page you manage. And we've also seen cases where you have somebody, let's say a beginner starts off and their first client is $1,000, $2,000 per month, which sounds fantastic as a beginner. It's a pretty high price for a beginner to get your first client in at, but that expectation needs to match that. So the client is expecting now 1,000 to 2,000 a month in terms of value back. And so if that person, the beginner, doesn't maybe wobbles a little bit, doesn't quite deliver on that because, hey, you're just starting out. You might actually then lose the clients. Whereas if you
Yeah.
pitched less, maybe you did 600 a month, you might have locked them in for 3 months. Then after
Yeah.
3 months, they go, you know what, this is great. Let's keep going for another 3 months. You do the math, you've made thousands extra. So just for people listening, pricing, yeah, it's a beast. Okay. So wherever you're at right now, just stick with where you're at. As Mina said, slowly ramp it up. Like, don't just go from 500 to 2K. Slowly ramp it up, build the confidence, build your results, and then you'll figure out that kind of even point of where it kind of makes sense to stay. But that makes sense, Mina. Like all your clients, like you said, different packages, different pricing, ranging from maybe 600 on the low end, upper end, maybe 1,500 per month. With niching, this is obviously, such a common question. Do you niche down? Do you not niche down? What's been your experience with the clients you've worked with so far?
So far, I have attracted the local services, general contracting,
Hmm.
construction type. I think I really targeted those because I knew that they were more higher ticket,
Hmm.
and they would see it. They would see a return as soon as they closed one client. Um, However, and I know that this is a kind of like a hot topic of do you niche down or not.
Hmm.
I'm still not to where I'm comfortable just going after general contractors, local services type stuff like that. My background is healthcare. I am still trying to search for those niches of healthcare,
Hmm.
nurse related, legal nurse consulting, like things like that. And I have found that when I find somebody and I let them know, hey, I'm a nurse, also marketing and social media, paid ads, things like that, that it helps me with them because they know that I know where they're coming from. I understand their demographics. I understand, the specific things that
Hmm.
they need in
Hmm.
healthcare. General contracting, I just love real estate. I love
Hmm.
before and afters as far as, remodeling and things
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
There's a lot of value in that specific industry. So I'm not ready to niche down. And even though and like I said, I'm trying not to be cookie cutter. And I may not be a fit for this particular niche, but I might be for this because of the
Hmm.
experience that I've had already with like, general contracting, HVAC, stuff like that. So, um, me personally, I'm not ready to niche down, but you can niche down and then at some point even charge higher because you're so
Hmm.
targeted. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I think what's interesting, Mina, I'll just pull up our screen here for a sec. Like, with pretty much all the interviews we've done at this point, there's no real common trend up until about maybe 10K a month. Some people are niche down. There's a lot of people that are not. In fact, we look at kind of 0 to 10K a month, probably, yeah, we're probably looking at maybe 70, 80% of people don't have a niche. They work with all different types of companies, and that's just the way it is. When we go from that kind of maybe 10K a month to the upper level, maybe 20, 30, 40,000 per month, that's where we really see that come into play for most people, where they really start to see, like you said, those long-term benefits of niching. Of, okay, well, if I've got 40 clients and they're all general contractors, it's going to be easier to manage 40 of those versus 40 completely different companies, right? With different industries, different research and markets and all that stuff that you would then have to go and do, for that client, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's really interesting because if you had asked me 2 years ago, I probably would have said, yep, most people should niche down from day one, just because I could see for my business the long-term benefits it had. But in terms of getting to 5K, 10K a month, yeah, not an issue, not an issue. And I think what you found as well is you've obviously found a pocket like that general contractor market where, yeah, you can manage your social media, you get them a handful of leads, and it might pay for the service over a couple of months. One project might actually be 5K. So your service for the next 6 months is essentially free. That's how they might view it. So definitely important to, not stress about that just for the beginners watching. And also something we've noticed is be service specific. Just focus on one service rather than one
Mhm.
industry, and you'll figure the rest out as you go. With your
Yeah.
service, Mina, is there any kind of, I guess, is there anything else you're doing, or are we looking at purely social media management, content creation? I know you said there's some consulting. You're doing the odd consulting deal as well now. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you've added in or looking to add in?
So when I first started doing this, it was just social media. With social media, for me, it includes, creating the content,
Hmm.
engaging with the community. And what I found that I feel like sets me apart is that I don't upcharge for posting stories or um, other things that I noticed other people were upcharging for. I just think it was ridiculous. So I just combined it all into social media management. You get all of that. Now, if they want to post daily versus every other day, that's a little bit different.
Hmm.
If they want to post more reels versus just, a mix of graphics and things like that, that's a little bit different. But what I started with was social media. Then I got complicated because I just like complications. And I was doing like web development and SEO and paid ads because I found that a lot of businesses were really actually wanting all of these things.
Hmm.
And that's what pushed me below my competitor was I didn't offer all these things. Now, I'm the type that I like to learn. And I started learning about SEO. I started learning about paid ads. I started learning, well, more about social media management and what comes with it. Based off of multiple conversations that I've had with you and with Ty, um, I stopped web development, and it's rare that I'll offer it. And so what I started doing was really immersing myself in paid ads, really immersing myself in SEO. Because at least now, what I've learned with the trends of social media is with the use of AI and other things, if you were to Google something and you've got keyword SEO friendly content on your social media, you might actually pop up on Google if somebody searches those keywords. So, so right now I am offering paid ads with social media, which is a great upsell, SEO, which is a great upsell, and one off, with web development. And I don't even do it. I just hand it off to somebody else, with my name attached to it.
Hmm.
And so I think if if I was not comfortable in this, or if I just didn't have that yearning to learn more to help serve my clients better, then I would just stick with social media because
Hmm.
paid ads is complicated. Paid ads and SEO is also complicated. But if you're willing to learn about it, to have that conversation, to educate your client, um, how it can help or how it might not help, um, then I think it's something worth, learning about. But if it doesn't interest you, if it's not even what your client wants or needs, then there might not be, there might not be a necessity to even add it on. Because yes, adding more gets complicated. But I think I am learning how to kind of it's been maybe 8 months since I've started diving into paid ads, and I am just constantly trying to find education or taking courses as far as how to make the ads work for my clients. And I've had a lot of just yesterday was Monday, and I posted something on my story about all the client wins that we just got yesterday from paid
Mm.
ads, lead after lead after lead. And I truly think it is because I am taking the time to invest in my clients by investing in myself so that I can make their ads better, make their social media better, make their SEO better.
Yeah, yeah. Talk to me about the work-life balance because I know you were saying obviously you started off, you were in nursing, you had that conversation with the boss, right? That you were like, no way can I continue in this forever. I know obviously since then you've gone kind of more to part-time with the nursing, but you're still doing it, right? So I think it'd be really, really great to kind of give people the context of, like you said, if you've got 9 clients, you're obviously delivering the service for each of them, you're communicating with each of them. So those are two different beasts. You've obviously got some team members, some people that are helping you out, graphic design, maybe video editing, things like this. And then, as you just said there, like you're actually spending time kind of upskilling yourself, right? Learning paid ads, SEO, and these other things. So what does the kind of balance look like between that? Like, do you have certain hours of the day that's just social media marketing? Does it kind of blend all into one, or what does that kind of look like?
It really does blend all into one. The work-life balance I am the type where when I'm really focused on something, I kind of have this tunnel vision.
Mm,
And so unfortunately, since maybe this time last year, my gym routine has definitely softened.
hmm
Um, and I am slowly trying to get back into that routine. Nursing, I am part-time, so I only work 2 days a week. And even then, sometimes I'm on the computer doing business stuff.
mm,
Um, I try to make sure I have quality time with family, because it definitely does reset my mental state.
hmm hmm
Just a couple weeks ago, you and I were having a conversation about how anxious I was getting because I was feeling overwhelmed.
hmm
And so, what I have been doing, even before that conversation, is I have my every night at around 7 o'clock, I put my phone on sleep mode. And then every morning I don't take that focus off
hmm
until eight
hmm
o'clock. Now,
Nice.
sometimes I break my own rule.
Hmm
I'm always on my phone, unfortunately. Every morning I wake up, I go straight to my computer, um, because I feel like there's just a lot to do. So the work-life balance is definitely something I'm still working on. Um, but I took when I became an entrepreneur, I took this responsibility of taking this risk of less gym time or
hmm
less quality family time or working, physically at work, but um, answering client questions as soon as I can. This is a responsibility of an entrepreneur, that is taking this risk. And it can work without, risking this or that or
hmm
family time, gym time. It can work. But I refuse to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to do a gym workout. I don't have to wake
hmm
up at 4 in the morning. I'm not going to do that. Usually I wake up at like 7 o'clock, and I could, work out in the garage. I just choose not to. And that's my own fault.
hmm
Um, but there are times that I'll go, I train in jujitsu. So at 6 o'clock, I will, once every other week go to my gym and go train and see my friends there. I could do more. I just choose not to. And that's just because I'm really focused on scaling and scaling and
hmm
scaling,
hmm
client delivery, service delivery, team communication. So my work-life balance is probably not the greatest, but a lot of my focus is right here, is business forward.
hmm
Uh, Full well knowing that, family comes first for me, that my gym life is now kind of taking a back seat. But that's my choosing. That is my fault. So I think for anybody who's trying to who thinks, there's plenty of reels that say, 4:30 a.m. I already did my workout. What have you done? And I'm like, I don't need to wake up at 4:30. Like that's crazy. But
Yeah.
that's their choice.
hmm
So
hmm
if you're going to start a business, become an entrepreneur, whatever it is, you have to understand the risks and responsibility you are taking by calling yourself a business owner, by calling yourself an entrepreneur. And these are the risks and rewards that I am, taking for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like when you have like what you have right now, that tunnel vision, the singular focus being scale, build the business bigger. Because I've gone through that so many times where, yeah, like could I have gone to the gym and also done all the other, yeah, of course. Like it just wasn't top priority. And I think it's okay to say that and go, hey, I don't have to have the perfect routine, the perfect gym, the perfect diet, all the things perfect while building a business, because you might be dedicated to building that business for a year or two, as in that's the sole focus for that time period, then it still is a focus, but then you can reintegrate the other things. Like anybody I know that's gotten to a pretty high level in any type of business online, that's pretty much what they've done. And I've done it myself. I've had periods where I'm like, training for marathons and I'm doing 4 runs a week and 3 to 4 gym workouts. And then there's times where I'm not doing that because
Yeah.
it's not the priority. And there's actually such peace that comes with just saying, yeah, that's it. I'm the same as you. I want to get a good sleep. I'm not going to get up at 4 a.m. just to get the workout in
Yeah.
beforehand and then be completely wrecked for the day. That to me is not freedom. And that's kind of what I signed up for. So yeah, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense, Mina. Something I'd love to touch on is just kind of like that beginner mindset, right? So if you were going back in time, Mina that had the idea of maybe I'll do this thing, how did you step into I'm actually going to go and do it? I know you mentioned you started researching, so some YouTube videos and kind of just building up probably more of an understanding of what this is, how it works. But how do you actually start? That's the big question.
For me, it started with that conversation, with my boss. And the thing is
Mm-hmm.
that nursing since COVID has changed for the worse.
Mm,
Bedside or, healthcare in general. And I'm not a political person. I don't know anything about politics and insurance and all that stuff, but I was talking with somebody else that used to be in the program, and we called it profits over patients.
mm,
So that's what healthcare is focused on. I will never leave the bedside. I always have a job. Um, and starting, if I were it, and to start, it was this point of being fed up. And that was the conversation with my boss. And that's when I told myself, man, I got to do something else. Um, and I know that that was more of that internal motivation that has fueled this fire. I remember when I first spoke with you, one, I was fangirling because I was actually talking to you, and I told you that I was fangirling right now. It only took 2 weeks of like just heavy YouTube and heavy
mm-hmm,
Google and
mm-hmm,
heavy, how do I make more money this way or that way, what have you, from home, things like that.
mm-hmm,
And that's when I stumbled upon you. And it
mm-hmm,
took 2 weeks of just watching your content, watching your 8-hour course that was
mm-hmm,
on YouTube,
mm-hmm,
that I was like, okay, this is what I can do. This is easy. This is what I can do. And I remember talking to you. Um, I remember talking to you and telling you that there is this literal fire burning in my chest
mm-hmm,
because I want more for myself. I want more for my family. And it was about like in the manifesto that you and Ty, created. What's
mm-hmm,
your why? What's your why? And sometimes, I forget what my why is, and sometimes I'll remember. Um, but if you've got a reason to get started, whether you don't even have to have, a deeper meaning of your why. It doesn't have to be because, I grew up poor, and, I want
yeah,
to, make sure that I make all this money or whatever. It could just be, well, I actually just want to start my own business.
mm-hmm,
It doesn't
mm-hmm,
have to have any depth to it. It can
mm-hmm,
really just be, I just want to start. I just want something for me. Doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to be, super below the surface. Whatever is going to motivate you to start, um, use that as motivation.
mm.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. And how do you, I guess, just say for the beginner watching, like, how would you say you get over the fear, right? Because nearly everybody that starts has that fear. I had it for sure. You probably had a certain amount of it as well of, I want to do this thing. I've got the fire. The desire is there, but it's what if? What if it doesn't work? What if it's not for me? Am I good enough? All those kind of things. How did you kind of push through that phase and actually go and take that kind of leap of faith?
I remember talking to my wife before I signed up with you,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very fearful of, I said, no, 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 I'm not managing social media. Like, no, that's
Mm-hmm.
way beyond my scope. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
taking
Mm-hmm.
videos. And then I found you and immersed myself in your content of, can I actually do this? And then the leap was just signing on with you.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost like if you're scared of the deep end of the pool, the only way to get over that is to just slowly put your foot in. Maybe just sit on the edge of the pool and just put your foot in. Then
Yeah.
maybe put your waist in, and then just hold on to the wall while you're, by your shoulders. And, holding onto the wall of the deep end, and then going all the way to the shallow end, and then coming
Mm-hmm.
back, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I really emphasize, even in nursing, when I'm, talking to students, is if you're scared, the only way to get through it is to actually do it. And the best example is healthcare related that I can think of is, a lot of times we'll get, people who are, in cardiac arrest,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of chaos
Yeah.
the only way, one of the easiest ways to get over your fear of just that chaos in the room and people shouting out orders is just get on the chest and start doing chest compressions.
Mm,
It's the same here. Just either find a course, keep YouTubing, how to or what or whatever. Sign up with somebody like you, ask around. Eventually, just do it. And you don't have to dive all the way in. You can just put your feet in. You can just have a touch point and work with that. And then eventually you can, scale your own skills.
mm.
And that's what I have been with doing, or that's what I have been doing.
Yeah, makes so much sense. Love that analogy as well because, who when they're learning to swim literally just jump straight into deep end? Not that many people. It's a common phrase we hear, right? Of like, you just got to jump into deep end. But in reality, I remember being on holidays as a kid when I couldn't swim and I fell in the pool and my dad had to come and rescue me. So that didn't work very well, I went into deep end and, where did it leave me? Nothing, right? So yeah, I agree for sure. Like just start small, but I think that first leap for a lot of people, like you said, is probably again, it doesn't have to be with me. It could be with anybody else or a different community or whatever, right? But it's just get around people, get around people that are doing it, that are talking about it, that can give you some insights, that can tell you, try this, maybe this will work because it worked for me. Just a very direct level of guidance because at the end of the day, this is what we've kind of done in all other areas of our life, in school, in university, in college. Yeah, if you don't know something about a topic, you get help. That's the kind of premise. And I think a lot of people skip over that and they get fixated on the, yeah, but what if I get a client and I don't deliver? What if I get a client and they want their money back? And it's like, look, those are all doubts. And of course you should consider them, but let's tackle it when it happens. Who
You
knows?
truly
It might
don't
never
know,
happen.
you truly don't know where you are until you start.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And you also don't know what you don't know. So those big looming
Yeah.
doubts, for example, those doubts, I had those doubts for sure before I started. Like I remember vividly putting off starting because I thought, what if I get so many clients that I can't manage them and still be in college? And I was like, that's a crazy doubt to have, right? Because that's assuming I'll just get flooded with clients and they'll just like, spam me being like, Adam, take my money, take me on. It's not the reality. The reality is I'm going to have to fight to get that first client. I get that first client. I might spend 2 or 3 weeks before I get my next client, and that's the process. So just for people listening in, a lot of the doubts you probably have right now, they seem way bigger than they actually will be in reality. And those doubts, you may never have to face those doubts ever. Like I never had to face that doubt that I thought, was going to hold me back, which was getting so many clients that everything was crazy and chaos all the time. Never really happened because you just get a client, you build a system, you consolidate, you get another client, and you go from there.
Yeah.
Mina, I've got a couple of questions here in the chat just from a couple of the guys that are on the call. So I'm just going to read those out to you just to get your feedback on those. So the first question is actually about your brand. Because I see you've obviously got like your logo and everything in the back. How did you get your brand palette developed? Like the colors, the fonts, and like what gave you the idea for those?
So this I was just on Canva searching for, logo ideas and
Mm-hmm,
this and that. And I came across something just like this, the font and the colors, and I loved it. I think this is totally my personality. These colors, my tattoos are all like, bright colors. I don't
mm-hmm,
really like black and white. These colors just resonate with me, and it's fun. It's different, or it may not be different, but it's just fun.
mm-hmm,
Um, and kind of fast forwarding to maybe the last month, I was trying to do a rebrand and I hired somebody on Upwork and they just actually just made my logo better
nice.
rather than a complete rebrand.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And earlier this year, actually, right at 2025, I changed my logo to a different color, like black and yellow, because somebody told me that yellow, whatever the psychology of yellow is or
mm-hmm,
whatever.
mm-hmm,
And it did not resonate with me. I stuck with it for maybe a few months and I was like, no, I got to go back because this is me right here.
mm-hmm.
Bright colors, neon colors. Um, and so I think when you're searching on Canva, Google, when you hire somebody, things like that, there's always going to be something that just you see it and you're like, yes, that's me. And I think it's important to realize that your brand is you and not the people you serve. So when I went with yellow, that was to serve other people
Mm,
and like aesthetically, but it didn't resonate with me. And when it doesn't resonate with you, um, I almost felt like a fraud because when I talk to clients, prospects, leads, whatever, I always make sure that when I am creating their content or messaging and things like that, that I am always on brand with them. Because I am representing their brand, through their social media, through their content, things like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that my brand has to represent them, if that kind of makes sense. So,
100%. Yeah.
right, so your brand, your client's brand, your brand resonates with you. Their brand resonates with them. And that's kind of how I separate it. I don't know if that makes any sense for anybody, but
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure it does. It's interesting you said of like you changed it to try and resonate with the clients, right? So that kind of like yellow and black or whatever, right? And I can see right away if you're working with maybe like some construction, real estate, etc. Yeah, I can see how that would resonate, right? In terms of color schemes and it feeling
yeah.
more like aligned to them. But what actually really reminds me of is when a lot of people start into something like this, myself included. I thought I had to look a certain way. So I had to wear shirts, and I had to always have something very formal on. The reality is nobody really cares, At the end of the day, it's what's important to you. If you're going to be more comfortable in a t-shirt doing a sales call with a potential client, they probably don't care. They probably just care that you're comfortable. Like that's the main thing. Because if you're more comfortable, you're going to be more confident. You're going to be more you. And I think it's so easy to just, you see a YouTube video of some like guy wearing maybe a shirt, and he's got everything super smart, and you go, right, I have to have that to even get a client. No, you don't.
Mm-mm.
I've had
Mm-mm.
some sales calls in tank tops with clients that were a lot older and, very professional, and they signed up, no problem. So it doesn't really matter. You got to stay true to you. I agree.
Yeah. The other thing too is that you're totally spot on about like if you're comfortable in a tank top and shorts, and that's on brand with you or with your personality or what have you, that is probably going to get you a lot more comfortable and maybe even closer to closing the client. And if that's on brand with you, that's perfect. And so usually when I take a call, I'm in my t-shirt and it
Hmm.
says boss because I
I
am.
love it.
I've got this exact setup here,
Love it.
and if I drop a curse word here, like that's me.
Yeah,
That's me. And like I said, you may not be for everybody, and
for
that's
sure.
okay.
Yeah,
As
love it.
long as you stay true to you and your brand and what it represents, you don't even have to have a logo, but that's all that matters.
Hmm. For sure. That's also a great point, a great caveat, because people are going to hear that being like, I need my logo now. I got to go to Canva right now and get it. There's people doing, big, big numbers, no logos, just a name that they operate under. So don't worry. We got another question from Alex. He said, while scaling, which tasks are you doing yourself? And then which of those are you delegating to other people?
That's that
Mhm.
is something that's a good question. When I could first afford an appointment setter, that was the first thing that I spent my money on, and he is still with me to this day. We just passed our 1 year anniversary together.
Nice.
And so that was kind of a learning curve for both of us. And I thought I was going to have to fire him, but my brand is upskill my team members because I don't want to do this hire and fire unless they're truly like
Hmm.
not good.
Hmm.
But my first investment was an appointment setter. And again, a year has gone by and I have upskilled him to appointment setter. He's still doing that, but also quality control when it comes to video editing. Um, and I am delegating the graphic design, 90% of the video editing. The appointment setting is fully on my appointment setter.
Hmm.
Um, I am doing the social media management. I am doing the client communication. And I kind of, dive in, I kind of, and because everything comes through me and then to the client, sometimes I'll do, the copywriting, caption writing, things like that, or the content research. The paid ads, I have a partner that I have been working with for almost a year now, and he and I do paid ads together. Um, and so those are the things that I am delegating. Another thing that has helped a lot, which kind of dips into my margins, but it gives me my time back to go to the gym, to spend with family, things like that, or mental reset, is the caption writing, the scheduling of the posts, the content research as far as, hey, client, this is what your competitors are doing, and maybe we should do it too. Those things I have 90% off of my plate as well. And I think as soon as you can find something that's taking up a lot of your time, okay, start to delegate that, create that system, step one, step two, step three, step four, then train somebody on how to do it, work with them so that they can do it well and properly and execute it perfectly at some point. Um, but those are the things that I am delegating.
Awesome. Awesome. Mina, for people that want to maybe check in and kind of see what you're up to, do you want to drop any like social handles or anything like that that people could follow along with?
Yeah, so my Instagram and actually all of my social profiles, it's nope, DVRD underscore productions.
Cool. Nice. Nice. Awesome. And we've actually one more question from Alex that's just come in. So I'll let you rock on that one as well, if you're good on time. He said, what type of outreach is your appointment setter doing?
So my appointment center right from the beginning was just doing Instagram.
Hmm.
I even, bought profiles so that I could have a little more of my feelers spread out. And then eventually we worked ourselves into Facebook outreach. And now he is in my Upwork as well, helping me kind of field and qualify certain proposals that come in, or he'll help me send proposals also. And that has been huge because, at least 2 days of the week I'm at, work and I can't be on there. And that's one of my main lead flows is Upwork.
Mm.
And so I don't want to turn that off
Hmm.
by not having somebody in there. And so he's in there every day, kind of helping me field certain proposals and find certain proposals also.
Awesome. Awesome. Mina, really appreciate you taking the time. You've dropped ton of bombs, ton of
Awesome.
nuggets. And yeah, you should be super proud of this because I know people are going to get a ton of value
I
from
hope so.
this. Yeah, 100%. I know it already. I know it already. There's already Alex is saying in the chat, thanks, Mina. I know there's going to be tons of people that are going to be messaging us after this. So really appreciate you taking the time. And for everybody watching, hope you enjoyed. Definitely do follow along with Mina's journey. So check out DV or D underscore productions, see what she's up to, and we'll see you in the next interview. All
Awesome.
right.
Thank you. Thanks,
Take
Adam.
care. Have a good one. Bye bye.